Hey guys, welcome to the review show. My name is Austin. Flight Risk is directed by Mel Gibson, stars Michelle Dockery, Topher Grace, and Mark Wahlberg. A U.S. Marshal boards a small plane to transfer a government witness to New York as they cross the Alaskan wilderness. Tension starts to rise as not everyone on the flight is who they appear to be. Well, I mean, this is definitely a January movie. To be fair, the directing in this movie is not bad. Mel Gibson does a really good job with what he is given. There is definitely awkward shots in this whole entire movie in certain bits, and sometimes the green screen doesn't even hold up. Mark Wahlberg as this mysterious pilot does a fantastic job, even though it's kind of corny, but he plays that role very well. I'm like, you know what, he 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 worked very well for what he was given, and I actually really liked his performance. I thought he was great and funny, and a lot of parts of the film, especially Topher Grace, which he doesn't really play as a terrible villain in any way. He's just kind of this guy who's an accountant that knows a very high credible English. And he does like his bank accounts and he transfers money. Besides that, he's just kind of a normal guy. So then you can like him throughout the whole entire movie. And, I'm fine with that. He was funny too. There was a lot of comedic timing from him. I mean, he doesn't have to be an asshole like Eddie Brock from Spider-Man 3, which I didn't realize that was Topher Grace in the movie until I started watching, because who who's really paying attention to Flight Risk? You have Michelle Dockery, which I don't know if I'm saying her name right, and she's fine as well in the movie. I did like her performance, and I was interested in her character. She has like an interesting backstory where she had this tragic mission that went south, and she was pointed to be staying behind a desk after that mission gone wrong, and she's finally back in the field, giving it another chance. There's a lot of interesting subplots going on in this movie, and the premise of the film is that you have this witness who needs to be traveled to New York on this airplane, and that's where the film takes place, and that's where the tension builds, which I was actually kind of looking forward to. It's been a bit since we've had a movie like this. The only movie I can think of is Speed, which is a movie I really like. So I was like on board for this type of film, and it's kind of something that's simple to do, really. Like you just get three people in a green screen room on a plane, and that it looks like a plane, and you shoot the whole entire movie on that set. But every once in a while, you do have like, exterior shots of a real plane flying and doing some of these stunts. And the movie really works in that aspect. Now, the movie does fall apart later on in the movie when it doesn't really have any reason to exist. And that's my big issue with this movie, is that the setup to the story had a lot of things going forward, but then it doesn't pay off any fucking thing so whatsoever. Like nothing gets fucking paid off besides Michelle Dockery's character, who had this tragic mission past that's kind of like the only thing that got somewhat resolution throughout this whole entire movie. But nothing about the court case and nothing about Mark Wahlberg got resolved at all. Because one of the subplots in the film is that they think that there's a mole in her government, in her I guess department, because this was a secret operation to have this guy travel to New York to testify against a guy, but no one else was supposed to know. Somehow this information got out, so then Mark Wahlberg was hired to come and hijack the plane to make sure that doesn't happen, and that goes absolutely fucking nowhere. I mean, you do get some form of questions answered to who, but to know the outcome of that, none, zero, just whatever. Hopefully they do a sequel. I guess they were afraid of, I guess, a Speed situation where like the biggest complaint about Speed is that it was 20 minutes way too long, where it did feel like Speed 1.5 that took place on a train. I'm just using that as an example. I'm not saying that's like the main reason, but that's what it kind of feels like. They didn't want to overdo the movie, so they decided to end it as soon as this whole entire adventure was over. I'm like, but there's still plenty of things to tie up that you just simply just didn't, that you brought up and you just simply didn't do anything with. So the movie in that way just felt like a waste of fucking time. It just because like what was really resolved? Fucking nothing. You don't even see the court case that this guy is being traveled to. So like nothing in this movie is fucking resolved. Like, and that's really where the movie is terrible. It isn't really from the performances. It isn't really from the directing. I'm gonna give Flight Risk a D minus. There's nothing really else to say about this movie. It's pretty fucking generic without any form of payoff. Don't go bother seeing it this weekend. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching. Like always, I'll see you guys in the next review. Bye, guys.